Alright, let's try this again. It's the craziest thing to not want to record car video. If I'm looking down a bunch, it's because I wrote a bunch of stuff down because I didn't want to forget or get too off topic because I rambled. But this has been heavy on my mind for a minute with the whole Kavanuagh situation that's going on. Obviously, Bill Cosby and just all this recent talk about sexual assault and rape and everything like this. I just figured, I'd say something because I can. Not that my opinion really matters or anything, but first and foremost, I'm gonna try not to cuss. But if I do, my apologies. I'll probably put something in the title or whatever to say that. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to say something. But hopefully, nobody takes this personally. This is nothing, personal towards anybody individually, nothing like that. So if it doesn't apply, please let it fly. But I do feel that we all have a responsibility, whether you're a sexual assaulter or not. Obviously, sexual assaulters and rapists have a responsibility. They need to stop what they're doing, obviously. But even us, which as a man, I do believe majority of us aren't, sexual predators or anything like this. Maybe that's just a bias. This is all from obviously a male perspective, but even us men that aren't out here doing these things, we do still play a role, and we do have a responsibility to check not only ourselves, but to check other men and to listen to women and their experiences. Um, so basically, that's kind of what I wanted to uh, come on here and say. First and foremost, we need to do a job as men, do a better job at listening and trying to understand women and their experiences. Now, we ain't gonna never understand everything about y'all or be completely eye to eye, but we can do better. So that's first and foremost, in my opinion. Like, we really do. And that's not to take away from men that have been sexually abused or raped, whether that's by other men or women. But obviously, women are the main victims in this situation, the main ones being marginalized, just like black people in America, black people and Native American and really heavily melanated people are the main people in this country that are victims of police brutality. Obviously, it's not just darker skinned people in this country that are victims of police brutality, but obviously people that tend to have higher counts of melanin tend to be more so at the short end of the stick when it comes to police brutality. So, the light usually is shine more on us. Same thing when it comes to sexual abuse and rape culture. Women of all backgrounds are the main victims of that, so the light is mostly shined on them. But I don't want to take away from any males that have gone through that. This applies to anybody. I'm just mainly speaking in that aspect, if that makes sense. But yeah. So like I said, sorry, I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. So if I'm pausing all that stuff, I'm sorry. I don't. This is why I don't really make videos. I like talking more in person and just typing what I gotta say. Um, but I feel that men and women, we do need to have better relationships with one another, and I don't even mean just romantic relationships, but just in general, whether that's friendships, yeah, romantic relationships or anything in between. We need to have better relationships with one another, and that's on both ends. We seriously do need better communication and understanding, no matter how awkward that may be. See, this is why I don't make videos, but nah. So, and not to get on, man. Just, I mean, it's like a male bashing video, but once again, if it don't apply, then let it fly. But a lot of times, guys, be real. We're thinking about ourselves first, and we're not thinking with this head, and we're thinking about our next move, and not paying attention to them and their body language or what they may straight up be saying and telling us, or whatever the case may be. We're not doing that. So, that's where a lot of times some of these issues occur. We're not trying to build a real relationship. We're just trying to holler and things like this. and that can lead to problems in the future because we don't know one another. That's not a real relationship, in my opinion. And that's not to bash anybody that's in a, casual relationship or friends with benefits or whatever you want to call it. That's cool. We've all done that. But I think in our generation, we really need to get back to actually dating and getting to know one another. And that's on both ends. We both have responsibility for that. But, yeah, we really need to check one another. And guys, look, there's nothing wrong with having friends that are women. And trust me, I'm the first guy to talk about the struggles of the friend zone. In fact, I'm a 2-year running mayor of the friend zone. But no, all jokes aside, there's nothing wrong with having platonic female friends. That was a joke, the whole friend zone thing, even though that does suck, ladies. But anyway, that's another topic. I'm gonna leave that out here. But there's nothing wrong with having some female friends. I'm not saying every woman you meet should be your platonic friend, guys. I'm not saying that. No. Like, I'm on your side. Trust me. But it's good to develop some relationships with women and be their friend and really just listen to them and get cool enough with them to where they can talk to you about these type of things, because there's a lot of stuff that women go through that we just straight up don't know. There's a lot of pain that women have that they hide, whether it's our mamas, whether it's our female friends, female co-workers, whatever. And y'all know what I mean when I say female. I don't want some feminists coming on here, oh, that's sexist or whatever. Y'all know male, female. Y'all know I'm talking about human beings. So anyway, we need to do a better job at listening and developing these relationships with some women. Seriously, and I know sometimes that's hard because, ladies, y'all don't understand how beautiful y'all are, and I don't even just mean physically or sexually, anything like that, which obviously that's a huge aspect too, but it can be distracting sometimes to really listen and take in what y'all have to say and y'all's experiences because of how beautiful y'all are. I'm not trying to use that as an excuse or try to be corny, but it's just that's just some real ish, like, for real. Like, guys, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, sometimes you just really trying to listen to a woman and you're just like, man, like this woman's a mate. Like, you can't even really focus, but we gotta try. We gotta try. We have that responsibility and that role, whether we want it or not. I'm not saying that it's a good or bad thing, but that's just the way it is. That's our society. So we need to do a better job at developing better relationships. Women, same thing, both sides, but just specifically, I'm just talking to men when it comes to this, and we need to do a better job at listening. And if you don't, want to have any, lady platonic friends or whatever, I totally get it. That can be weird sometimes, guys. I get it. Like I said, I'm on your side. I feel y'all. I know how that is. Like I said, I'm the mayor of the friend zone. That shit sucks. Excuse my language. But if you don't, have any female friends or whatever, that's fine. Talk to your auntie, talk to your female cousin, talk to your mama, some female family member. If you don't have any women that are your friends, not friends with benefits, not your girlfriend, not your wife or whatever. If you don't want to talk to them about it, which if you have a wife, I mean, I'm sure y'all have already talked about it anyway, but if you don't want to talk to them about that for whatever reason, which, once again, if you're married, I assume you've already, you've already had that conversation. You guys are already on the understanding anyway, but talk to your female family members about this type of stuff, for real. And just listen and just understand that a lot of women go through this. Your wife, your fiance, your girlfriend, your female friend with benefits, your female friend, whatever. Like, some woman has gone through this. So try to talk and listen. But a lot of times too, I will say real quick too, just to flip it a little bit, ladies. I'm sure a lot of women, it's hard for y'all sometimes to talk about these things, especially if you've gone through these experiences firsthand. I know that it could be hard to talk about, but try your best to have these conversations with men that are willing to listen, as hard as it may be. Like, once again, especially if you're a woman who has had these experiences. I know it's probably tough to talk about, but on your own time, when you're comfortable, please do. Seriously, like we don't, most men, we don't go through this type of stuff, and we don't know. I know we can educate ourselves on our own on through the internet, things like this, but trust me, these type of things hit home for us more when we hear this from our peers, our lady, female, woman, whatever you want to call it, peers. It really does. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I don't know. I'm just saying, sometimes when we hear these things from women that we know personally, it's going to hit harder. So when you guys are comfortable to talk about these things with us, for us men that are willing to listen, please do. But men, be willing to listen. You understand? So it goes on both aspects. And I don't have, personally, I don't have any children, but for people that have kids, we need to do a better job of educating our kids on this stuff too, like within the family home. I'm not talking about school education, anything like that. I know there's sex ed, and all that type of stuff, which they do need to talk more about rape culture and sex ed. Personally, when I was at that age in school where they started talking about sex, I don't really remember them too much talking about rape culture and no means no, things like that. From what I remember, I mean, that was a million years ago. I'm kind of old now, but no, I'm not that old, but I don't really remember them making as big of a highlight about that as they probably should have. So that's something within education within school that they should talk more about. But parents, really need to talk more about this to our children. The little boys and little girls need to tell these boys about checking in, about, asking if it's okay to do certain things with a girl that you're pursuing, especially if it's a girl that you just started dating. This is more, what I'm talking about more so is kind of like if you're in the beginning stages of trying to date somebody, or you're just kind of in the casual purgatory type of thing. Not so much for people that are already married. You should already, once again, have that understanding, but, we need to do a better job of educating our kids too. It's one thing for us adults, we need to do better, but these kids, they don't know, and that's not their fault. They're kids. I mean, like, you gotta start somewhere, so we need to do a better job of educating little boys on what checking in means, and that's okay, and that you're not a loser or whatever for, making sure that she's okay before sex, during sex, the whole nine, and it may be weird to talk about this type of things with young children, but you got to start somewhere. I don't know what the proper age is. I think it just kind of depends. I don't have any kids, so I don't know, but we need to do something, right? We do. Cause this is ridiculous. Like, seriously, like, this is, I'm trying not to cuss as much as I can. I already did. I kind of slipped up a little bit, but and like I said, whether you're a sexual abuser or not, we all do still hold responsibility to check ourselves and to check our peers and to check in with the women that we're with. And even us guys that aren't abusers, we all probably know somebody who either is an abuser or who's kind of giving us that weird vibe. Where you're kind of like, man, why is this dude's always like, man, like y'all know, like y'all know, right? But so whether it's firsthand, whether it's whether you've experienced this firsthand or you know somebody that has, we all need to have these conversations, and if you don't know anybody who has gone through this or who has been a predator, that's great. But we live in the internet age. We've seen videos or comments from people that you're just kind of like, yo, like even just today there was some comment from some dude that I had seen on like some random person. Somebody else was talking about it, but they were highlighting this comment, and essentially this dude was talking about, well, if a girl came over with the intention of having sex and she got so drunk and high that she passed out and you still had sex with her, is that considered rape? I'm like, really? I'm like, wow. I'm thinking to myself, okay, This dude probably has male friends. This dude obviously has parents, whether they're adopted parents, biological, whatever. I'm like, has nobody checked this dude? He looked like he might have been a teenager, but he's old enough to know better, right? And I'm thinking, like, in his X amount of years of life, nobody's checked him to the point where he wouldn't have to ask this stupid question. First of all, why would you even want to have sex with somebody that's passed out? You understand? And why would you need to even ask whether or not that's rape? If the person is unconscious and you're having sex with somebody, how can they consent? Whether they came over with the intent to have sex with you or not, if they drank too much, which is on them, ladies, if you drink too much and you pass out, obviously you drank too much, right? If the guy wasn't trying to, force you to anything like that, that's on you. That's not me victim shaming, by the way. I'm just saying, if you pass out, it was on you that you passed out. It is not on you what that man did to you, God forbid, once you passed out. That is on him. And I just don't understand why a dude would even be unsure about that. And look, I'm not saying people shouldn't ask questions. Once again, we need to have these conversations. We need to educate. But things like that, I'm thinking like, wow, so nobody talked to this dude when he was younger, or like, it's, and it makes me think of like how many other people are out there like that, It's just like, so just stuff like that, man. Like, where was that? Okay, I'm sorry. As I said, I'm just a lot of stuff. I'm kind of probably skipping over some stuff, but yeah, I always say there's nothing wrong with friends with benefits. If y'all, if you're gonna do that, one, be safe as far as wrapping it up too, and just be conscious of the fact that y'all are still getting to know each other. Maybe it is just a pure sexual thing, and like it really is straight up friends with benefits. That's cool if that's what you want to do. I'm sure we've all had those kind of relationships before, or we know somebody that has. That's fine. But just because you're on a strictly sexual relationship, that's still a relationship. People, fellas, ladies, understand y'all are still in a relationship. It's just not, y'all aren't exclusively with each other. It's not just you two. Y'all are still doing your thing with other people, but y'all are in a form of a type of relationship. So don't think just because, oh, well, all we're doing is banging, that, I can just do whatever with her whenever I want. No, you can't. You understand that, so I'm gonna keep repeating the whole communication thing. We need to listen. You need to listen. I need to listen. We need to do a better job, fellas, listening. And I just noticed that seems to be a huge problem, and like especially in my generation, and in the generation younger than me, which would be Generation Z. I'm Generation Y, millennial. Post-millennials or Generation Z, we always get mixed up together with two different generations. But anyway, I notice a lot in my generation and the younger generations is that we don't date no more. It's just, oh, we're having sex now. Okay, so either we're together or we're just screwing around. But there was no actual dating, getting to know each other process. It was like everybody wants to just skip right to the bedroom, which if that's what you want to do mutually and it's consensual, and there's nothing wrong. Once again, nothing wrong. I'm not bashing that. Like I said, we've all been there. That's cool. That's what you want to do. But some's got to give. Like, in my personal opinion, we need to get back to dating. I know a lot of people like, man, that takes too long. I'm trying to get to, but that's half the problem. You're not thinking with this head. You're trying to get right to the goods, and I get that as a man. Sometimes it's like, yo, like I ain't got time for all that. But if you don't know her that well and she don't know you that well, you have a bigger chance of ending up in a situation where there's going to be a lot of miscommunication and a lot of things that are going to be misinterpreted. And you may not even realize that she's uncomfortable because you don't know her body language. And she may not be comfortable enough saying no to you because she doesn't know how you may respond to that. You see? She doesn't know if you're the type of guy that's going to snap, and now she's God forbid, ends up with a black eye because she says no, she tells you to stop in the middle of what y'all are doing, right? You see? But if y'all had dated for a while, got to know each other, that can curb some of this stuff. Not cure it. I don't know the ultimate solution, but I just feel like these are some things that we need to get back to. I'm not trying to be on some old man 1950s, you know, you got to open the door for the woman type of stuff. That's what you want to do, cool. I'm not saying all that, you got to do all that, but we really do, in my opinion, need to get back to dating and getting to know people first. Because you don't know, that woman could be crazy, fellas. And ladies, you don't know, that guy could be crazy, right? You see, but everybody's thinking with the wrong part of their body, right? And these things, in my opinion, have a higher chance of occurring. You know, and I understand sexual assault isn't just having sex. It could be, you know, just not keeping your hands to yourself. I understand that too, but I'm just speaking more so on that. But I'm aware of the whole spectrum, or at least a good amount of it. I'll say, like, you just, you know, keep your hands to yourself if you don't know that person, right? If you don't know them like that. But the thing is, since in our culture and in our American culture, you know, if we're going to essentially push men to be the ones to be the pursuers, which I know some of that obviously is nature. I understand masculinity versus femininity, things like this. But it's also a socially learned and conditioned thing that we put men in the position to be the ones to break the ice, to be the pursuers. Now, what happens is, if you have some men that are overly aggressive or overly masculine or toxic masculinity, whatever y'all want to call it, if you have a group of people within that gender that are like that, and everybody within that gender is pushed to be the ones to break the ice and be the pursuers, you're going to have some people pursuing in a toxic manner. So unless we're going to balance this out socially, where it's 50-50, where it's just people pursuing people, and obviously I'm talking more so about straight people. I'm heterosexual male, so I'm just speaking once again from a straight male's perspective. But if it's not going to be 50-50 of men pursuing women and women pursuing men in similar ways as far as breaking the ice and, you know, hollering and things like this. Not catcalling, but, you know, hollering at people, trying to get phone numbers, all this type of stuff. If it's not going to be 50-50, if it's going to be mostly, you know, men being pushed to do this whether we want to or not, you know, we hold that responsibility whether we want it or not, because we're the ones that usually are the chasers, and women are usually the ones being chased. Some of that is natural, some of that is social. That's just a society that we're in. Is not going to change tomorrow. So until it possibly changes, this is what we got to as men. Period. You know, just like going to work. You may not want to go every day. You may not want to bust your ass, whatever it is you're doing, but you got to do it, right? You know. So, you know, I feel like we as men, like, guys, you gotta check in. It's nothing wrong with checking in during sex. I know a lot of times we think, okay, well, we're doing it, so obviously she wants to. I'm doing a great job, which you may or may not be, whatever, that's besides the point. But she may be uncomfortable. Whether that's your fault or not, she may be uncomfortable. Maybe she's just physically uncomfortable in the position that y'all are in. Maybe she just is uncomfortable with you. Maybe initially she did want to have sex with you and y'all started and she just, you know, lost the mood or whatever. These things happen. As a man, I don't fully understand that. Once I'm in the mood, I'm usually in the mood, but I respect it. If a woman says yes and, you know, she's in the mood initially and y'all start doing what you're doing, she's not in the mood, check in. Because you may not realize all of a sudden she's not in the mood. She may not tell you, which I'm going to get back into that later, but she may not tell you, but she may be showing you through her body language, you know, intentionally or intentionally. So you got to pay attention. But this goes back to dating and dating culture and getting to know somebody and understanding these nuances, fellas. If you know your girl, she may not even have to say anything because you're already gonna be able to tell. Oh wait, hey, are you good? You still good? Or you want me to do it like this, do it like that? You want to change positions? You want, you know? Ain't nothing wrong with, in my opinion, nothing wrong with saying that. Oh, it's raining. Scared the crap out of it. I was like, what? It's my bane on my car. But nah, so it's our job to check in. And that being said, real quick, ladies, I just want to flip it to y'all real quick. But before I get into what I'm about to say on y'all's end and what I feel y'all should do more of, before I get into that, let me separate what I'm about to say from this. I'm going to say this first now, and then I'm going to go back. Hopefully this is all making sense. For those women that are scared to say no, what I'm about to say does not pertain to you or any woman that's been in those situations, right? If you're a woman that has been in a situation, God forbid, where you're scared to say no because you, once again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but you're afraid of what his response may be, and you would rather just get it over with than to risk, God forbid, being physically harmed by this dude. You understand? I'm with y'all on that. I'm not talking about y'all. If y'all don't want to say no and y'all would rather just let them, just go through the motions and have it be, over with. I get it. That's a crappy situation to be in, but I understand you would rather just, keep going than to say no and have this dude snap on you physically, right? So that's a separate situation. By all means, do what you need to do in those situations. But for the women that do feel comfortable and they know the guy that they're with and they feel that they know him well enough to where you feel that you can say no and he won't snap at you, please speak up. And I'm sure most of y'all that are in those situations do, but for those that still don't, please just say, hey, look, like, no, or hey, stop. Whatever the case may be, right? Please, on y'all's end, ladies, y'all can verbally tell us, because men, we're very stupid, we're very simple. We're not going to always catch a lot of physical cues. We need to do a better job of that, going back to what I said before, but these things aren't going to change overnight, unfortunately. So, if you're in that situation where you're comfortable, you feel safe enough with that dude to where you can tell him no or stop or, whatever, or hey, let's do it like this or whatever, please say that. Because a lot of times we're so focused on what we're doing and trying to make sure we're doing a good job in pleasing y'all that sometimes we miss certain cues, which may sound crazy. You're like, well, wait a minute. If you're paying attention to us and trying to please us, shouldn't you? I know, men are dumb. I don't know. So we're stupid. I'm talking about myself too. But if we're not checking in and we're just, focusing on the job that we're doing as men while we're having sex and we're having sex with you, just be like, hey, stop or whatever the case may be, however y'all feeling, let us know, if we're not doing our job on our end by figuring out where y'all are at. So it's a dynamic on both sides. But once again, for those women that do have that fear or they're, feeling uncomfortable, I'm not talking about y'all like, if you feel, too scared to say no or stop or whatever, I get it. That's different situation. But in general, we both need to do a better job of speaking up, in my personal, individual, irrelevant opinion, right? But men, please pay attention and listen. I can't stress that shit enough, especially in this era that we're in. I mean, we should have been on this, but we need to do better. We need to do better at checking ourselves, checking other men, checking in on the women that we're with, and the whole thing, right? And I understand sometimes women will drop hints and things like this. We may not catch them, but we need to do a better job of picking up on those certain cues. If we're gonna be with these women, whether it's just casually or whatever, you got to pay attention. We want them to pay attention to us. We got to pay attention to them more, and body language, things like this, and we all need to speak up more. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really like driving this type of stuff home. But check this out, guys. I know it may seem, I don't want to be looked at as corny by always constantly, hey, are you okay? And I'm not saying like every second, like, are you good? Are you good now? Do you hear me now? Are you good? Like, y'all know, like, we're all grown. Like, I'm not saying every 2 seconds you gotta, okay, so you good now? Are you okay? But in general, check in if you're not sure, fellas. If you're not sure if she's good, find out, and check this out, guys. I know you may feel like, well, shit, I don't want to come off as being corny. Like, man, I gotta ask a girl if I can kiss her. That's lame. I don't want to be looked at as a lame, and I feel y'all on that. I get it. Like, I feel the same way, but check this out. Would you rather be looked at as Steve Urkel or R. Kelly? Because at the end of the day, both of them are not virgins. And I'm going to just leave it at that. Hopefully what I said makes sense. 99% of women out there are not lying. And for those 1% of women that do lie, F you. You make real victims look bad. You ruin men's lives by lying. So y'all ain't excused either. And I can be cognizant of both without, being a rape apologist or whatever. Like, I'm aware of both situations, and both situations to me are messed up. So for those 1% of women out there, once again, that are lying, screw you. But for the other 99%, fellas, listen to them, believe them, listen to them. Speak up, fellas. Ladies, keep speaking up. But I'm going to say it again. I'm in the video. Guys, would you rather be considered a Steve Urkel or an R. Kelly? Because neither one of those men are virgins. But hopefully this made sense. I know I talk really fast and I stutter and stuff. So hopefully y'all caught all this. But let me know what you think. I didn't want to do this live because I didn't know how much I would be pausing trying to read everything that I put down and everything like that. But I pretty much got most of my points across. If I have anything else that pops up in my head, I'll just put in the comments or whatever. But yeah, I'm out.